always expect great things of youth and junior youth. Expect more than they expect of themselves, so that their goal, their reach is far beyond what they thought that they could do. I'm going to explain some of these. This is actually a game that's being played, and their task here is to write on the back of the person in front of them, and they have to write a letter or a shape. And the one in front is supposed to figure out what it is and then do the same shape on the back of the next person in front of them. So they go on. It's like telephone, but it's kind of kinetic, so you're feeling it and so on. And really, in this activity, you're trying to understand the concept of perception. Like, how do you perceive the world around you? How do you sense it? And how do you work with people around you for clarity of vision, for making sure that you're actually communicating and that communication is clear. So it's kind of an example of that. So the major thing that you learn in the training material is that youth are actually not inherently rebellious. This is a common concept amongst many different educators and amongst different philosophers, that young people are rebellious, and they're rebelling to their parents, they're rebelling to their teachers, and so on. But the concept here is that actually that's an energy. Whatever that is, it's an energy. And that energy can be channeled in different ways. So when they look, when we or when the junior youth look like they're being rebellious, they're actually just questioning the world around them. And they may actually be thinking to themselves at some moment, why is the world the way it is? You know, why can't it be different? Why can't it be better? And that usually finds its expression in many different ways. It could be a gang, it could be, you know, different things. And actually, the things that they do might actually be opposite of what they wanted to see happen. And the reason is because they don't know how to express it at that time. So, as part of that approach, we need to build tools. The whole purpose of the Baha'i faith is to give people tools to develop their character, to become better human beings. So the junior youth program is like a little humble beginning of doing that with young people. There's two main things that I like to say, and one is that it lends support in developing their praiseworthy qualities, their knowledge, their insight, their skills, so that they can achieve both spiritual and intellectual excellence. So this is kind of a buzzword that you can remember when you leave here, is the word excellence. The excellence not in the sense like, okay, you know, they're really good students, or okay, they're just really good at this particular sport or something like that. We're talking about excellence in character. And it can, you know, kind of overflow to those other areas. And the next thing is that these potentialities would manifest themselves in acts of service to the community. So once they develop these characteristics and these qualities and these skills, then they go out and they use them. They show friendliness to each other, and they also become empowered. And that empowerment, you know, this sounds like a big challenge. Empowerment in carrying forward an ever-advancing civilization. But what it essentially means is that they feel like they've had motivation from within and from their peers to go out and do something good for the world and do something good for each other. And the realization is, that also impacts the self. If you help others, you're improving yourself, and vice versa. This is a little bit of what almost the 3 or more qualities of a junior youth group can include: service, empowerment, and spirit. Service is like the key component. What are you going to do about it? And the junior youth are asked to plan and initiate acts of service for the community. So we're talking about actual projects for social and economic development. Actual things that will be sustainable and cohesive and maybe can continue on. Even after they're not junior youth anymore, they could still have this social economic development project. But it's about putting something together themselves and making it their own. Nobody is going to decide what that project is except for them. They will decide in their group together what they wanted to do, what they want to do for service project. Some might do something really simple at first, and that simple thing slowly grows in complexity. Then that service comes hand in hand with interacting with the greater society. So they need to be able to communicate. So they get their whole neighborhood or all their parents together or whatever, and they said, this is our project, this is why we want to do it, and will you guys help us? So they're learning to say early on, long before any time in school, that they're really being asked to do that. They're learning to communicate with people who are older than them and people who are younger than them, and kind of figure out, well, how do I make it clear what I want to do? Empowerment, informal, we want to try to create an informal environment where these junior youth group can discuss various topics. They have topics of concern to themselves. They have topics of concern to society. They want to know about their contemporary problems and issues, figure out what's going on, at school. They had some friend who did this and they're not sure what to do about it. So they have an environment to figure things out together. And it could be anything from something that's impacting them at school or outside of school to something very philosophical. They sit down and they try to figure out tough questions. And maybe they don't have an answer, but that's okay. And then to study the informed text as part of systematic curriculum, and I showed you what some of those are.